So I'm just waiting for it to come up. Ah, friends, I believe we're live. I think. We're live, my friends. Oh my goodness, y'all. So, welcome to the Gardener's Workshop live shopping show. And friends, today it is all about Cockscomb. I could not pass up this opportunity to share why I love Cockscomb, how good it's been to me. When a flower's been really good to you, it's really hard to not totally fall in love with it. So I decided to do a pop-up today because I have probably about 12 or 13 of the different varieties that I like them all, but I don't necessarily love them all. And I'm going to go through each one by one. So anybody that doesn't know, this is Cockscomb. Some people call it the brain flower. Some people either love it or hate it. And I'm a lover. And most flower farmers learn to love it too because it is a really, really helpful crop. And it's a great garden crop too. So before I jump in, you know, when I'm here by myself, I tend to go off script. But I want to introduce myself. If we've never met before, my name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I am the owner of the Gardener's Workshop, which started out as a little city flower farm almost 30 years ago. I was barely a gardener when I started and launched my career as a flower farmer, and went on to become a speaker, a teacher, an author, and my farm is still in the middle of the city, which has led me to really be a connector to those people who are like me and don't have greenhouses, can't have hoop houses. It's not within city ordinance for me to be able to do that. So everything I do is outside in a garden, and that really makes me reality for a lot of people. And so the flower we're going to talk about today is a great one because it grows where it is hot and humid like it is for me. I'm located in southeastern Virginia. So I want to welcome you if you've never been here. And just to make you aware that we do have a phone app which changes your experience if you happen to be joining us from inside social media on Instagram or Facebook. So you can, it's free. You can just go grab it from your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop, download our shop app. We have two apps. It's the shop app is where you're going to find me if you go over to get that. And inside the app, you can talk to the other live viewers as well as post in the comments. And I will be taking a peek at the comments. So if you have a question, I'll do my best to try to answer them, even though I'm running the show and doing the show today, y'all. Put a question mark at the beginning, and I'll try to remember if I don't get too overwhelmed here to go through and pick those up. So why do I love Cockscomb? Cockscomb is in the family of plants called Celoseas. There is also, let me show you this. See, this is what happens when I'm here by myself, y'all. I think of too many other things I want to show you. So Celosea is a huge family of plants. This is the sisters of Cockscomb. See, they're plumes. This is also Celosea. Celosea is typically called Celosea cressida, and the plumes are called Celosea plumosa or spigata, and I'm sure there's probably other species I don't know about. But they're all Celoseas. It's like we're all Zieglers, and then you have my brother's, you know, Steve's brother's family, Steve's sister's family. That's kind of how it goes, right? So Celosea thrives in hot summers, which I'm in the south, so that makes it just a really great candidate. Because when I started out to become a flower farmer, I realized I have to figure out what grows really great in my conditions. You have too many things to do to like do CPR and cuddle plants. You need to grow what really grows the best for you. So I'm sorry, I was just looking at the comments. That's what happens to me. So I'm not going to look at the comments until the end, y'all. Just keep posting away. I see y'all all in there. Anyway, so Cockscomb was one of the first summer annuals that I actually embarked on. I thought it was really cool. And one of my biggest customers at that time, Colonial Williamsburg, said, we need this particular cockscomb, we need 2 tons of it for something they did for Christmas. They dried it. So that got me going on this. And so another coincidence that really aligned me to grow this family is the way that I start seeds is soil blocking. One of the things that annoys celosias is to sit in plug trays at all and get any kind of root bound activity going on. And when that happens to them, they kind of pout. And they do that by looking beautiful. You plant them, the plant looks great, but it just sits there. Sometimes it's stunted, sometimes it never blooms, sometimes it blooms, but it never grows up. So stress upsets this plant. Well, I was a soil blocking person, and soil blocking typically does not allow root transplant shock, right? So it's like that's how I came to be such a great celosia grower, because all the stars aligned for me to actually do it. And I'm going to show you how I start seeds. I'll do that last after we go through all of these different cockscombs. So what else do I want to tell you? Cockscomb is definitely a crop that needs to be netted out in the garden. They are this tall on me out in the garden, and the heads are huge. I mean, all it takes is some torrential rain to fill up all those crevices, and they just simply lay down out in the garden. So let me bring up the first one I want to show you. First off, I want to say that all of these are from the same series, and I'm going to go through them one by one. This is Chief, which is one of my favorites. Kurumi is basically the same. It's just whichever seed you happen to get. And so let me bring up the first one that I want to bring. So I'll try not to screw this up like I did last time, where I clicked in the wrong place and we lost. Sorry, y'all, I'm looking down the list. See, I didn't put my flowers in the order. I put, sorry y'all, wait a minute. I'm looking for the pink. I don't want to click on the wrong one. Orange, Jura, Chief. That's red, orange. Higgy. Here it is. I think this is it. All right, so as I mentioned, my favorite go-to high production series of, oh gosh, and I went away from that. How did I, y'all, I did it again. Remember last time? Stand by, y'all. I'm right here. I just got to get us back to the product is up. So let me, so for y'all that are just joining, I see we have quite a crowd here. I'm running the show by myself, which is kind of scary. I'm not a tech person. And usually I have a producer somewhere else remotely. Anyway, I've hit the wrong button, but we're going to look at this pink, and then I'm going to see how I can bring up the rest of them. So my go-to family for production of cockscomb, or the first one in line, is Chief. And this is Chief Rose, they call it. But it's just really not like a rose, y'all. This is more like watermelon. I mean, it is a very vibrant, bright color. The whole Chief series is a brancher. It's highly productive, although I will say one of the slowest producers is the pink. Some of the other colors outproduce it, but it's still productive enough. And it's just a great color, right? We could use this from as early as I can get it up through the end of the season. It's just an incredibly great color. And you can pinch Chief. We typically don't pinch just because we just don't get to it. The first cut is a pinch, but it is highly productive. So this is the pink. Now, let me see how we, last time I got back. So if for some reason I cut us off, y'all, I'll be coming right back. So fear not. So I'm going back through the buttons to get, I hope, to where we are supposed to be. Last time that we did this, and I need to say this, we're having Christmas in July right now, so there's a coupon that you can use here in the app and on the big website. It is Santa for 20% off of pretty much everything. Oh gosh, y'all. Sorry about this. So I'm trying to start. All right, maybe I found it, maybe not. All right, so we'll do the best we can, right? So this is the rose. And so the conditions that all of these guys like, which is what I think so many people struggle with, is full blast in sun, 8 to 12 hours. It does like water, but a lot of rain obviously will rot these blooms because it gets trapped in there. And so when you have a really rainy year, it might not be such a great year, right? But on a good year like this year, we are just having an awesome cockscomb year. All right, let me see if I can't change. We'll see if this changes that. I don't think it is though. You know, y'all, if there's just nothing like doing something live. Huh. Well, be still my soul. All right, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go through and show you all this cockscomb, but I can't bring it up so you can purchase it. But you can find it all here inside the app. Last time I did this, all of a sudden it fixed itself. So we're going to count on it doing that. All right, so we're still in the Chief series. Now, this is one of the cockscombs that I mentioned earlier that I said that I liked, but I might not love it. That is what is called Corona, C-O-R-N-A. We're still in the Chief family. And so why I don't like this one is it's kind of like the pink. It's just not the strongest, consistent producer, but look how cool that is. You know, one of the things that I learned, you know, we sold to florists, supermarkets, members only, bouquet subscriptions, farmers markets, we sold at them all. What we learned is that our supermarket sales, because the store that we sold to had a lot of flower arrangers, they just could not get enough cockscombs, especially the unique colors. So this is Corona, and look at the variations. I don't know if you can tell, this is more gold with the red pink ribbons, and then there's some that are more pale yellow, and then there's a lighter gold. So there's a lot of variation in here, which may actually explain why it is not such a consistent producer. But the thing you need to be aware of on all cockscomb, and it's easy to see on this, so I'll show it to you. If you're going to become a really great cockscomb seller, you have to learn when to cut it before it starts producing seed. And this is, I'm going to bring it up close. You see right where my finger is right there, how it's kind of dark looking? That is because there's black seed underneath that flesh. And when that is showing like that, you know what that means? It's going to drop seeds on your customer's table, not happy campers, right? And so that's the biggest thing about what you can learn about take away from today, besides you shouldn't probably go live without help, is that you have to really perfect your harvesting skill with Celosius. That's what has led me to make such a huge success of Celosia. And I'll point it out as we go through them, some Celosias, especially the pricey seed Celosias, guess what? What makes them so different, what makes them worth paying 20 times more than this seed is they're slow to go to seed. So that means they get bigger before they start making seed, which means more dollars per stem. Bingo, right? So that's Corona, right? And so we're still in the Chief family. Now this is gold in the Chief family. And I absolutely love this one. And I'm just looking for, here's see how it's just still really clean and white in there? That's what you're looking for. You're looking under the covers, right? Over the correct stage to actually harvest. This is a color we absolutely love, highly productive. It's just like the next three that I'm going to show you are big producers. This gold is a great color to have all throughout the season, particularly in the fall. Absolutely love it. And yes, if we keep our first planting of Cockscomb harvested properly twice a week, it will still be, unless we have a really rainy year, it'll still be producing heavily in the fall. But of course, we plant multiple successions, so there's no shortage of Cockscomb. So this is Cockscomb. Oh, all of a sudden, one just popped up. All right. So I see the corona is up now. That is not, this is what's called gold. And again, if the right one's not up, you can find it in here inside the app. And remember to use your Santa coupon. Y'all, we call July the cool flower month because it's the month that everybody should be thinking about cool flowers, but they don't. So we have this big sale called Christmas in July, and it ends on Monday. So you need to shop for all your supplies, all the tools you might need, and all the seeds now. Use Santa. It's 20% off. Look at that. This is just absolutely beautiful. And now gold's up. So apparently someone on my team has, Susie's on! Hallelujah, y'all. That's why you just have to have a great team. Susie is on changing the products so y'all can actually hit the button to put them in your cart. So this is gold. Another thing I love about Celosias, now that I can think because I'm not running this thing, is the foliage holds up and hydrates beautifully. So you can, even when you leave, this has too much foliage on it here. I would have stripped more of this probably. Because it's down buried in the bouquet or in the use. But if you need it, you can actually do it. All right, let me figure out where I'm putting these. All right, so the next color I want us to look at is persimmon. And y'all, I wore this shirt. I haven't worn this. I found this buried in my closet. I haven't worn my orange shirt in a long time. And I thought I have to wear it today. Orange is my favorite color. This is persimmon, still in the chief family. And this is fantastic. First off, look at this. This is one of the mixed bunches that we used to make for the supermarkets, which is the orange persimmon and that pink rose. Oh my gosh, y'all. People, I'm telling you, I don't know what they were doing with it. They bought every stick we ever had at the supermarkets in bunches. So the persimmon is absolutely beautiful. And another thing, the persimmon habit is really cool. See how it sometimes gets these additional combs down around the bottom? So the chief family is a ball cockscomb. Notice how these are like balls on top. You'll see the difference. I'll show you some fans in a minute. I love this because even if it has started to produce seed, and I'm having it for some particular use that's okay with, it covers the seed so it's not really visible. So this is chief persimmon and I absolutely love it. And you'll see here in just a moment that, well, here, we're one more color, and then it's also available in a mix. This is red orange. This particular color in the Chief series is the most productive cockscomb I have ever grown. I mean, this thing just continues to pump out good quality stems for bouquets and bunches. Like, I'm telling you, it's really pretty unbelievable. This color, along with marigolds and sunflowers, are what truly floated our supermarket bouquet program more than 1 week. Let me tell you, so many times this color bailed us out. And so this is not as orangey. I know it's hard to see the colors here, but this is persimmon and this is red orange, and there really is such a big difference. This one really just has so much more of a red tinge to it, and love the red orange. And so as I was just mentioning, if you've never grown cockscomb, where I would start with this family is to grow the mix, and all of the colors are in the mix, okay? You know, all the colors are in here. And that just lets you see which colors you like, which ones work for you. It really depends on your market, right? But if you're making mixed bouquets for any market, having a stick of Cockscomb so long lasting in the bouquet, you know, that's the other part of why we absolutely love it. I mean, we love it, and guess what? Our customers love it. Customers love long-lasting flowers. They may not talk about that, but they're like, wow, that really is a good value. You know, when we would make our supermarket bouquets, as I mentioned, the real backbone was always marigolds, sunflowers, and cockscomb, and celosia plumes. And then we have lots of other flowers that fed into those bouquets over the season. But customers absolutely loved it, and they just feel like they're getting a great value, and that's what brings them back to buy more and more from y'all. But the Chief Mix is just a great one, and again, it absolutely, the foliage is just so great, you know, and especially, these were all cut in high heat. We called it Heat Week this week, where we were tipping almost 100 degrees. So there are all the Chiefs, and let me just get rid of these for a moment. And then I want to show you, I call it Higgy, and Higgy, and she'll bring it up and you'll be able to see the name. I'm going to show you first why I started growing this series, and this is Higgy Red Stem. So the Higgy series, that I affectionately call it, actually has two colors. One, and they aren't named because of their bloom color, they're named because of their foliage. This is green stem and this is red stem. And this is why I first chose this. There is a Chief with red stems, but it kind of comes and goes with availability. And so this particular variety, which does it say up there? So y'all can see the name. It's Higyoko or Higyoku or something like that. But I was really attracted to it. It's very similar in growth habit as Chief. I mean, it's very aggressive grower, lots of branching, very vigorous, totally love it, right? But I absolutely love this dark stem and dark foliage for a change up. I mean, this is one that I would say I would specifically grow this particular one for fall, just to have a change up, right? And absolutely love this cockscomb. And I know a lot of people struggle with growing cockscomb, and I think it's the way they start it, and we're going to talk about starting the seed in just a moment. And then they don't grow it in full sun, and they don't time it out properly by planting it when it's still too chilly outside. Because I'm telling you, this is a family you don't want to miss out on as a cut flower farmer. And as I mentioned, this is all chest high out in the garden. Super great stem length. Now, we just brought into our mix the Higgy green stem. And I will tell you that it is very similar to the Chief red orange. You know, you really learn a lot sometimes, though, growing stuff side by side in the garden, which you'll see an example of that in a moment with another two varieties. So I would say to you, because local conditions can definitely affect the way that your flowers grow, not just cockscomb. If you are a up and running flower farmer, you better believe I grew all 14 of the ones that I'm showing you, or however many there are. And then if you find that, gosh, this is no different than Chief Red Orange, which one performed the best? And that's how you choose it. But this is Higgy Green Stem. And he's a great one too. And this, by the way, is the perfect size for bouquets. Not those huge mamas, you know, those are cool, but they aren't very useful. This is the perfect size bouquet used for the mix. So that's the Higyoko. And now I want to show you one that's called Queen Improved. So now we're getting into some other miscellaneous varieties that I grow. And unfortunately, one of these got left laying out, but we'll look at it even though it's a little wilty. So this is called Queen Improved, and this is a great color. Y'all know I love orange. This is a bright, pale orange. Look how beautiful this is. Incredible grower, branches beautifully, very productive. And if you're ever wanting to, and look how clean she is underneath, even though that's a great size coxcomb. So for instance, I'll give you a great example of why some people don't like celosia. A really commonly grown plume celosia was pampas plume for years before all these great, better quality hybrids came out. The biggest problem, for instance, with pampas plume is that it goes to seed really, really quickly. So most flower growers always had seedy celosia in their bouquets. And that was because it was really just difficult to get it before it went to seed, which is a reason to not grow a variety. If you face that with any celosia, you just need to drop that variety. There's too many good ones. The seed may cost more, but that's why, y'all. They don't produce as much seed, and they're new hybrids. It's worth it, right? Well, Queen, which is a very affordable seed, is a beautiful color, and I find that she's not slow to go to seed, but she isn't quick. And this is one of my favorites. One of the things you learn about summer flowers, you need bright colors. People are not looking for dark, romantic colors. They're looking for the poppin' colors, and that is Queen. All right. I guess I'll put them back in. So next up is our Jura Salmon. I guess I should compare these. Jura Salmon is a seed that's not widely available. A flower farmer in Nebraska named Jamie Rhodes saved this seed. I can't remember the name of her farm. I wished I did. And she started saving and growing the seed, and that's where I got it from. And then we had a seed grower grow us quantity of it so that we could offer it. And so that's a limited availability because this is not a seed we just pick up the phone and order more. This is something that has to be custom grown, which we are not actively doing right now. But here's the color difference. So this is Queen. She's just brighter. And when you see these, this is definitely softer, blushier kind of colors. This was always a sellout with our florists. And so I'll tell you, for us, our commercial florist customers always got the first pick of Jura Salmon. And then most of our supermarket bouquets never saw this. The soft colors are so gorgeous, but that's just not what people are looking for in mixed bouquets, right? So it's perfect to have these for your commercial growers and for what event people, for sure. And then to have these brighter colors for your mixed bouquets, supermarket bunches. So let's take a look at another in that family. This is Crystal Beauty. So I want to say that Crystal Beauty, as well as a couple others I'm going to show you, take longer to produce great heads. And these are not there yet. It's still early for them. And so, but the color is beautiful. And this is the fan type. And this is a great example right here. This is the fan type coxcomb. So I'm going to just show you what the sides look like. See how you can see the sides? You couldn't see that on the Chief and even the Queen, right? And Jura Salmon. So when this one starts to get seedy, it looks really dirty really, really quickly. So this is Crystal Beauty. It is a strong brancher. And funny, when Ellen Frost, our friend who's a designer that only uses local flowers from Baltimore, was in one of our instructors, she was just here, and I have to say this, the 20% off for Christmas is on our courses too, y'all. We've never done that before. So you can use that on courses. Anyway, Ellen, one of our instructors, I said, we're walking through the garden, she and Dave Dowling and I said, and here's Crystal Beauty. And she said, I know what you're going to say. You have a love-hate relationship, because what happens is flower farmers start selling this to her before it really gets any useful size. That's not bad. But a little bit bigger than this is what they're looking for value, right? So Crystal Beauty is a really nice one with a really great color, especially if you're selling to florists or event people. But I would consider this filler in a mixed bouquet. It just kind of fills up the bouquet, but it's in the background. And it really is cool looking if the person notices it, but it's not gonna be like flagging them and say, hey, me, I'm over here, like you want with most of the flowers in your bouquet. So that's Crystal Beauty, and I really think she is a beauty. All right, here is another one, the Kramer's series. And the Kramer series, I'm gonna show it as a mix first, okay? And then we'll look at it individually. We've sold it as a mix for many years, and I'll tell you a little story about the Kramers. The Kramers are flower farmers. They're in Pennsylvania. Wonderful, wonderful people. They've been growing cut flowers, I would guess, for over 50 years. And their big market back 20 years ago was they provided tons of dried flowers to the New York City markets. And that was their specialty. I mean, I went to their farm back then. You have never seen so many flowers and so many dried flowers and so much beautifulness in one place. Well, they really focused on selecting this seed for the best cockscomb for drying. All of this cockscomb will dry, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But this one was perfected to grow to hold as much color as possible. And so this is the Kramer mix. It is burgundy, this is rose, and this is lime green. So we've sold it as a mix for years, and so many people wanted it in straight colors to be able to grow specifics. We now offer it in the individual colors. So I'll look at the burgundy first. And so just like I mentioned about the Crystal Beauty, Kramer's takes a little bit longer to get a bigger head than some of these others that I'm showing you. So this definitely can get big, hunky heads. It also is kind of a fan type, so you can really see the sides. But of course, with drying, the seed situation doesn't much matter. I mean, it'll cover wherever you're drying them in seed, but you can get rid of the seed. You can shake the seed off before you actually use it dried. The burgundy is probably the most classic cockscomb color ever grown. This has been, there's lots of heirloom coxcombs that are maroon, but the Kramers just really perfected this seed, and we love them for it. And unfortunately, the mom and dad were actually lost in a car accident about 10 years ago. But their son, Keith, is carrying on and still growing. So you can still learn about the Kramer's flower farm. So this is the burgundy. Absolutely love it, but it goes to seed quick. So I typically do not use the Kramer series fresh. That would be a definite, we're gonna look at rose next, a definite dried flower use. This rose is unlike any other rose color of cockscomb that I've ever grown. It is really beautiful. And I will say that I have used this one fresh. If I can get it before it goes to seed, we have to really specifically harvest it for that. This is just a great color. Strong branching, all of the Kramers, absolutely love them. And this was the color Colonial Williamsburg was after too, by the way. And then the last one in the series is the lime green. And you'll see the ones that I grow in a moment for fresh use, because you can see this is here's a fan. Look how dirty the side is. That's dirty because that's all seed in there. And it's just really cool. Look at the tops. I love the ribs. And I will say, for any gardeners that are watching me, cockscomb is amazing in the garden for bees and beneficial insects. They love hiding out in these crevices. So it's really a great uniform flower to grow, and it just lasts a really long time. All right, so next up, let's look at the ones that were out of water, so they're a little wimpy. This is Auka, I think is what it's called. So what we love about this one, and I'm sorry y'all, so this, see how it's kind of short? It got cut for something else, and then it didn't get stuck down in the bucket. I'm gonna try to hold it so you can see. Great colors. This is a brancher, but it's got these really, what's different about it is not only the colors, but the combs are cut so they appear to be frilly. So they're just different, right? And you may not need that, But if you're selling to designers and florists, they love this stuff. This is Bobo, who's been here for 15 years with me, and she's quite a talented flower arranger. This is her favorite coxcomb. And it's really a fun one, and it's got some great shrimpy colors in it. So check that one out. And now y'all, I have coxcomb seed everywhere. This is Super Crest. This, like Kramer's and Beauty, has not had enough time to really get big. This one is definitely a fan. Here's a perfect example. Really cool. Shows all of its dirty laundry there on the side. People, growers, some people love it, some people don't love it. I don't love it. I like it. It's really cool. It's got some great colors, but it is just very inconsistent. It gets seedy really fast. If you're drying, this might be a good candidate. And it's really big in the garden, and the heads can get enormous. If you're selling to people that do, is it Ikebana? Those, arrangements with not many flowers in it, they are the kind of people that tend to like the funkiness of these. But if you're one of those people, definitely grow it. But if you're a seller, there's just not many people out there that appreciate that, right? Not enough to grow a crop. So Super Crest, big bee. I mean, it covered in bumblebees. So Super Crest is fun and funky, but you just have to decide, is it worth space in your garden? Now, the last one I have to show you is a couple of my favorites, and it's the lime green. So I'm going to show you spring green first. So these are the ones that I definitely grow for fresh use. It is a pricey seed. It is 1 bloom per plant. So you plant 1 seed, you get 1 bloom. They're pretty big. I mean, we let them get pretty big. And why can I let them get pretty big? Look at that, y'all. There is no seed developing. That means, that's why it costs so much. They don't get many seeds per plant. Think about that for a minute. Secondly, I can allow it to get bigger in the garden before I have to cut it so that it has more value. When we were selling to all the florists and to supermarkets, we didn't always get it done. We tried to grow spring green every single week, started every week, just like I did sunflowers, because we could sell this every week. We could use it every week in our bouquets. We absolutely loved it, and it is just a great keeper. I mean, it's just a great color. It goes with everything. And so then onto the scene comes Act Green. Why in the world would you grow both of them, right? And so I have to grow everything, all the new seeds that come out, right, to see what the deal is. And so I actually grew these side by side this year. This is the second or the third year we've grown Act. And I now know why I'm planting both of these. Growing them side by side. Spring green actually is ready to harvest almost 2 weeks before Act. And that extra 2 weeks where Act is growing these, and their heads are kind of more of a triangular shape. These guys grow so dadgum tall. I mean, spring green is plenty tall. Act has got 12 inches on spring green in my garden. But that means that we can start them on the same succession. But we know that after I cut this clean, after 2 weeks, that these guys are just starting. So that means I can plan 4 weeks of green coxcomb harvesting, right? And so these are the kind of things that as a flower farmer, I don't do a lot of testing. I mean, I don't do any testing. I only grow what I know are proven cut flowers. But which proven cut flowers are best for me? That's a big test. So spring green and Act are costly seeds, but they're worth every penny because you have such great stems that you can actually price accordingly. Y'all, let me put all this back in water. And I want to show you how I start coxcomb because that, I think, is a really big part of my high success. Y'all didn't put these back in the bucket quite properly. All right, jam-packed in, but they're in there. All right, so seed starting for celosia. As I mentioned, probably more than any other flower that I grow, celosia is the testiest, can be. And I've just, you know, again, I was that perfect storm of, I happened to be a soil blocker when I started growing celosia 30 years ago. So I just had a great experience right out of the gate. So I'm just gonna show you very quickly, and then I'm gonna look at your questions. And Susie, you're just the best for taking over for me. Now I gotta find my soil blocker tool. All right, so I wanna show you these. This is not celosia, this is actually ageratum that's going out in my garden. But this is what we're talking about. This is soil, these are soil blocks, and this is ageratum. This is 100 soil blocks, 100 plants that are growing on this long skinny tray. 20% off, y'all. Now is the time to buy this kind of stuff. The trays are not here in the app. They're over on our website, but don't miss out on that. So you can put 100 blocks on this tray. So that's pretty much my number. Looking for a tray now, y'all. That's the number that I typically start of all the plants that we're growing here on the farm. So this is the soil. This is literally the one that Bobo and I use here on the farm. This is blocking mix, and I'm going to show you. We have the soil block maker kit, which has everything in it to soil block. So let's just say you're already starting seeds. Then you can, in this kit has everything you need to switch over to soil blocking. So this is the blocker. We import these from England. They're the original Ladbrokes. Yours will definitely be cleaner than mine. And this is the block-in mix, which comes in the kit. And I just pushed the blocker down a couple of times. And y'all, I'm telling you, we have started millions and millions of seeds using this method. So these are reusable foam trays that come in the kit. And actually, the one in the kit holds 60 of these blocks. This tray only holds 40. And literally, you give a push and a pull, and you literally make them that quick. Bobo and I are so fast making blocks that it is incredibly efficient. And we put one seed in each block, and then it grows up, and you treat it just like you do any other seed starting method, except with soil blocking, you literally shave 1/3 of the growing time off, because they grow so fast in these blocks with no containers. The roots get so much oxygen, they just grow so much quicker. And so I want to just show you, and let me grab it. So in the soil block maker kit, you actually get like a new, never used soil blocker, right? So there's the blocker. This small blocker is the one I use 99% of the time. The only time I don't use the small blocker is when the seed is too big. Think sweet peas, sunflowers, a seed that just would be too large. Because to have, because again, I don't have any greenhouses, right? Everything starts in a little grow room, which is basically like a spare bedroom here in this building. If I want to get the maximum amount of plants per square foot of grow light in there, the small blocker is my #1 choice always, right? So you get the small blocker. You are going to get my Seed Starting Made Easy course, y'all. Now, first I want to say, this kit is normally $89.95, which is about 15% off. When you apply the 20% off, what a bloomin' deal. I mean, now is the time to strike, y'all. I didn't even think about that. So it's $90 less $18. What a deal. All right, so you get the blocker. You're going to get the Seed Starting Made Easy. This is me taking you by the hand and showing you everything. And you can choose from either 3 of the warm season seeds, of which one is the Mixed Chief Cockscomb, and Benary's Giants, and the lemon and cinnamon basil. The perfect bouquet is right there. Or you can choose 3 cool season seeds, which are 3 of my favorites, right? Indian Summer, Feverfew, and Rocket Snap. So it just depends on what you want to start. Then it also includes 5 of these reusable foam trays that 60 of those blocks will fit on. It also includes the seed pan. If you don't know about a seed pan, I can't wait for you to learn about it in the course. Oh my gosh, there's no static electricity, it'll change your world. And the toothpick, which is what I use to sow all those tiny seeds. And then these little wooden plant ID markers, but I actually use these as tools to handle my soil blocks. And then lastly, friends, it includes a bag of the blocking mix. This 6-quart bag will make 600 of those little blocks. It's incredibly dense and compact. So you're getting all of this, and I still can't believe how much it is with 20% off. You're getting all of this for $89.95 minus 20%, which is $18 basically. What a deal, y'all. What a bloomin' deal. And so all of the things that I've shown you today are available in the app and on the website. So you can go to either and use the code Santa and get set up. I mean, I could give you a whole list of things you should be getting. But stay tuned, and for all of you guys that are watching me, be sure you turn your notifications on inside the app, because at another undisclosed time, because I'm doing these shows kind of when they fit in with my weekend here, I'm going to be doing Meet Cool Flowers show. I've got a bunch of cool flowers harvested over there that I'm going to be doing probably tomorrow, sometime in the afternoon or evening. And if your notifications aren't on, you won't know I'm in here. Okay, so I'm going to look at your questions, and I see them here inside. I'm looking at the app. And we have Vermont and North Carolina and Missouri. So somebody says, mine are still so short and tiny. I'm telling you, I didn't grow great Cockscomb out of the gate either. You know, they love nice, rich, organic rich soil, water, timing. And I'm telling you, seed starting is the biggest one. So somebody asked, when did you start those Cockscomb? So the Cockscomb I'm cutting from currently was our first warm season tender annual planting. And that planting typically went in the ground in the latter part of April. And also here in the app, if you want an incredible resource, my book, The Cut Flower Handbook, guides you on, first off, to figure out when you're supposed to be planting warm and cool. And then it tells you about it for every flower, and Cockscomb is in there. Hi from Georgia, Lisa. I'm sure you must be watching your approaching storm. Nope, I haven't even watched the weather. Lisa, if you have a soil test and add everything it says you need to add, do you still then add compost? So that's a great question, Laura. Compost and general purpose fertilizer gets added every time. We try to add it every single time we plant. When a soil test tells you to add something specific, that's kind of up and beyond. Compost and just general purpose organic fertilizers are the stuff that, think of your garden as a NBA basketball team. And for those guys and girls, whoever, to work hard. I mean, they don't just have gym once a week. That's what they do all day, every day, right? So they require a lot more food and nutrition and all kinds, and more sleep, right? Well, that's exactly how our garden is. So compost and general fertilizer is like the basic necessity of keeping your high performance garden going. And then if a soil test tells you have something crazy going on and you need to add something specific, then yes, you still use the general purpose stuff. And if you're using true organic products, fertilizer, that means that they aren't high anything. So it's kind of hard to OD your garden is what I'm saying. So yes, Laura, hope that helps. Elizabeth City. So Lisa, I'm in zone 7A. Can I still start Celosi and have it bloom this fall? So the biggest, y'all, I'm working on a new project and I was writing all about this morning. When you can still plant or when you should plant any plant has nothing to do with your zone. It is 100% about your frost dates. It's how long do you have before you get your first frost? Because you say you're in 7A. Well, I used to be in 7B until they just bumped me. And, you know, my frost dates are totally different than people that are living in the mountains of Virginia, which may still be in 7A, right? So it's 100% dependent upon your frost date. How long you have between when you're talking about and when your garden's going, your warm season garden is going to be axed, right? And then you have to add in on top of that day length. I would say you're probably too late for most coxcombs. Now, spring green is quick. You would have to, and that's one of the things we walk you through in the cut flower handbook is it's got a place for you to write actually in the book. It's like, when are your frost dates? It tells you how to find those frost dates. Don't use it from your information. This is historic information that you get off the internet. And then you start counting. You sit down with a calendar and start counting. That's what we do. And how many weeks do you need? How many weeks does that flower, particular variety, exact flower that you're looking at say that you need, how much time you need? So that will answer all of that. So I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, you can still plant sunflowers, but I don't know about celosia because I don't know when your frost date is. Is it too late in 8 to start these for fall harvest? So somebody already had. Thinking over wintering here, do you stop irrigating for fall planting hardyway flowers? If so, when do you do that? So we don't irrigate any fall planted cool season hardy annuals, aka cool flowers, with irrigation. We hand water when we plant them, and then typically it's cool enough and rain happens enough that we don't have to water them throughout the winter. And then we don't hook up irrigation until growth and spring starts and frost has passed. So we don't have to worry about our irrigation. But typically if you're planting on time for cool flowers, unless you get no no snow, no ice, no rain, most of them, they go dormant after they're established. That's what the 6 to 8 weeks is for in fall before your winter comes, to get established. Then they go dormant, and when they're dormant, they typically do not need water. Christine, coxcomb does not grow well in my area. I've only got 6 to grow, then black aphids, but Benary giant, wow, they're huge, but I have heavy bug problems. My first year selling in new beds. So first off, if you can grow Benary's giant, zinnias, you can grow coxcomb. You just haven't mastered it. Y'all, I've been growing flowers for 30 years. That's why I grow killer coxcomb. It does not happen overnight, right? You have to do your time. I'm sorry, but you can do it. If you can grow Benary's giants, great, then you can grow coxcomb. And about your bug problem, the first thing you need to figure out is, 99% of the bugs in our world are beneficial to something somewhere. They're not all bad. Only 1% actually cause damage. So the first job you have is to learn what bugs you're talking about. Are they good guys, bad guys? Why are they there? Chances are good you're doing something to encourage them. I would recommend to everybody watching the free app called Seek, S-E-E-K, by iNaturalist. Go to your phone's app store, download it. It's free, and you need to identify every single creature in your garden, and it keeps track of it, and then you need to figure out, is it good or bad? Yeah, that watermelon rose is great. How many days to maturity on the coxcomb? Too late to plant. Connie, it's different for almost every coxcomb that I showed you today. So you have to look that up. All right, so I'm going to answer this one. Oh, and Susie, there you are. Lisa, I'm having the worst luck with germination of queen lime zinnias. Multiple packs and colors. All other seeds have great germination. Are they slow to germinate, or do they have lower germ rates? Any thoughts? So I have had in years past, it can definitely, because there's, as far as I know, one producer of queen seeds. So everybody you buy from gets queen from the same place, okay? And we had outstanding germination this year, the best we've ever had. And Bobo and I were talking about who the heck planted all these plants? Because we don't usually have that many to plant from. So I don't really find any difference. But I don't know if you're talking about this year's or last year's, but do what we do. You just try again, you know, especially when you're having it across all the colors. Something's just not jiggy with them, right? So Susie's answering some questions in here. And I know that somebody said that it's on some but not the others. We did just discover that some of our seeds online, it's on all the seed packets, what days to bloom, but it wasn't on all of the product page. So we actually have somebody working on that. So Nicole says, all mine are short and small, planted out mid-May. Should I cut them all and let them go again or keep waiting for them to get taller? No, definitely pinch them, cut them, and see what happens. I mean, you got nothing, nowhere but up to go, right, at this point. And just remember to use the coupon code when you check out. All right. I have a question about selling flowers. I recently started selling to a florist sunflower from your seeds. Actually, I'm getting $1 a stem, and I'm selling Lizzie for $1 a stem. That is way undercutting. That is way lower than the market. Does any of your courses you sell speak about pricing or access to direct questions like this? I'm not sure I'm getting the dollar amount I should. Yes, we do. I would recommend 2 courses for you. Flower Farming School Online, which is my course, The Basics, has that and so much more. I mean, it tells you where to go for pricing. That's just the pricing piece is one part of a whole class, which is multiple hours broken up into sessions about all the different ways you can sell and presenting yourself as a professional. Because one of the best things for a florist is when somebody comes in with cheap prices, as you have done, and they're thinking, oh wow, now I've got an in. It's going to be hard to just Lizzie Anthus. Oh my goodness. So you really are going to have to like backpedal a little bit. So Flower Farming School Online, which I would love for you to be a part of. And yes, you inside the private student group, you have access to me to ask me specific questions inside there. And they're 20% off. And then there's a more specialized course that we have by Ellen Frost, that florist I spoke of, which is called Preparing to Sell to Florist. And she talks about, because she is the florist, right? Pricing, availability list, and how to find your customers. Her course is like $50 minus 20%. So that would be a great place to start. Flower Farming School is $695, but I'm telling you, you'll make that money back just like less 20% if you apply just a portion of what you learn in there. So that's the answer to that. So I've got to stop answering questions, y'all. Winged Everlasting. So Lisa asks, Winged Everlasting, which is a mobium. Its stems are so weird. Do you strip all the leafy green off, or is it like status? Well, I strip status and amobium, except for amobium, you have to look at it online. Yeah, there's none in here. So yeah, I strip it, and it is awesome. James asks, is municipality compost, say from Yorktown, that's been cooked, good to you? Yeah, yes. And little do most people know where all the commercial places you buy compost from get it from York County and the city of Newport News here locally. You know, just sit in there and watch all the big company trucks, tractor trailers that have their name written on the side of it in there. So yes. So this is the last one I'm answering. So I keep saying that, y'all. Have you ever had issue with spider mites? What have you done to help with them? So I don't know specifically about spider mites. I'm sure I've had them. We don't treat for anything. We really try to use a natural way of growing. And my book, Vegetables Love Flowers, really shares my gardening philosophy, which is about restoring the natural order of your garden, meaning helping nature. And that's not just not using pesticides. It's about specific things you may or may not grow because they do attract certain bugs. And it's a bigger picture than that, but I'll tell you, it is a wonderful way to grow. It's more cost-effective way to grow, and it's safer for you, the environment, your family, your pets, and everything else to grow. So Vegetables Love Flowers may help you with that. So you guys, thanks for joining me here, and thank you for all the great questions. And again, turn your notifications on inside the app because I'll be doing Meet Cool Flowers. I don't think I'll do it. My husband is in waiting for me to help him cut up a bunch of saplings, trash trees that we pulled out yesterday. So I think I'll be too pooped to do it later tonight, but tomorrow afternoon or evening after church, I'll be jumping back on here, but I don't know when. So you'll have to rely on notifications to not miss it. Remember, 20% off when you use the coupon code SANTA. That is good through Monday at midnight, the 7th of July. And friends, it is time. It's time to get your supplies, your blocking mix, any tools you may need, insect netting. Every time I was showing something these last few days, I'm thinking, what a great time to get hoops. What about the green trays? I mean, it's just such a great time of savings. And start making your Cool Flower Dream List. If you don't have the book, get it. And my book, The Cut Flower Handbook, which really takes you even steps further. And of course, all your seeds. All right, friends. Until we meet again, and Susie, thank you for taking over. And I've just got to I've got to figure out. I'll try to do Cool Flowers by myself, y'all.